What is Leslie's motivation these days? Is it to just be like a bothersome fly or like a gnat? She's literally just like an annoying gnat going from person to person to bother them with no real story to it. What is up, fellow Beyond the Gates fans? Here to talk about today's Thursday episode. And yesterday's episode was pretty weak, and yet somehow today's was even weaker. I fear y'all know I'm honest. I thought today's episode sucked. Like, there was usually, even yesterday, there was a little bit of stuff I was interested in. Today kind of felt more like a November sweeps episode from back in November, which is not a compliment. Today's episode felt like very aimless with not a real vision until maybe the very end, but even that is pretty questionable. So I'll probably be pretty quick today because I don't have a lot of things to talk about or a lot of nice things to say about today's episode. I mean, I guess we should start with Leslie. I feel like she was kind of the focal point of today's episode, being quite the mess. And I also want to say I didn't take the time to take screenshot shots from today's episode like I usually try to do because right off the bat, it really wasn't working out for me with this episode. But Leslie and Eva met up to talk about the free clinic, and Eva had good news for Leslie that some other places, including the main hospital, is going to be donating some stuff for the free clinic. She also broke the good news to Leslie that Derek wants the job for the free clinic. But Leslie wants something bigger. She wants to make a big announcement at Orphe Jeans or do some big event. This whole episode was about how Leslie wants to upstage the Duprees because they've been having a lot of attention lately because Anita was on the news, not for good reasons though. But Danny had her whole modeling announcement thing too. So yeah, Leslie's whole big idea today was to have a big announcement to take attention away from the Duprees. And then she spent the rest of the episode kind of like bothering people. I'm over them writing Leslie for like comedy relief only. Like, if she was still more villainous and had comedy relief like she was at the very beginning, it would still work for me. But these days, they play her as a clown, despite like a week or two ago when she, I think it was 2 weeks ago because it was like Valentine's Day, when she threw something at the mirror. I thought maybe they were going to finally take her back into the villainous direction. But since then, it's just more of the same clown shit. And it's not working. It's old. She doesn't have proper motivation. This has been my problem with the Leslie character. I've been complaining about this for many, many months. She had a motivation when she first came because of the whole Ted situation. Her last motivation has been her obsession with Ted, but that's even went to the wayside. What is Leslie's motivation these days? Is it to just be like a bothersome fly or like a gnat? She's literally just like an annoying gnat going from person to person to bother them with no real story to it. And it didn't really work today. She bothered Smitty today, trying to give him a scoop, and he didn't bite. Smitty did finally give her shit for co-opting his daughter's idea, and she was saying, oh, Samantha can be part of the pictures, but I still feel as though Smitty and Martin should be doing more about Leslie taking Samantha's idea, or even just giving shit to Eva, who is the reason for this even happening in the first place. So yeah, Leslie was obnoxious. We'll get back to her. Kat was with Nicole and Laura today. The whole episode started with a lot of characters watching Anita on CBS Morning Show with Gail King talking about the cancer, and Anita giving credit to Laura for getting a mammogram in the first place. But Kat's and Nicole's and Laura's conversation kind of devolved into Kat going off about Leslie and Eva getting away with what they did to Laura last year. And Laura and Nicole both think that Eva has shown remorse for the whole situation. But typical Kat will never, ever, ever, ever forget what both Leslie and Eva did. And on one hand, it's good that there is a character on the show that still wants to take Leslie down. But I still think the Kat and Eva rivalry is so stale. So that played into a later part of the episode. I'm just going to go through my notes in order here because usually I try and jump around from things that are good to things that are bad, but like most of today was bad. Danny and Andre had a small part today. Andre was kind of simping for Danny again. Leslie ended up interrupting them too and wanted Danny to put her in touch with Danny's fashion reporters, which Danny called her out for saying, why would fashion reporters give a shit about your free clinic? They've been depicting Leslie lately of having no idea what she is doing. Maybe that is the point. Like, she wants to run this free clinic, but she has no idea how to get it started. And all she can do is bother people and try and get her way, but it's not working. But I'm just wondering, what the fuck is the point of it all? Then at the country club, Vanessa was watching the whole Anita thing too. Anastacia was complaining about how there was no service at the country club because everyone was watching Anita on the CBS morning show. Later, when Anita and Vernon showed up at the country club, Anastacia tried to give Leslie her condolences for having cancer and it was asking if there's anything you need. And Anita called Anastacia out to her face that she's basically fake and that Anastacia should walk into the ocean with stones in her pockets. So I guess they're keeping that little rivalry going too. Vanessa and Anita ended up talking. Vanessa was complaining about how Deanna doesn't want to come home and she's worried about her daughter, yada, yada, yada. The thing I hated most about these scenes, which should be no surprise with the failed character that is Vanessa, is that in these scenes, she tried to act like she just still feels so sad over Doug's death, but her actions have never showed it on this show. And it's a big part as to why I see Vanessa as a failed character, because she got over Doug's death very quickly with Joey. She was cheating on Doug during the time of his death with Joey, and then they just moved further and further ever since. It's impossible to care about Vanessa's feelings or believe Vanessa's feelings because of what the show has showed us with Vanessa this whole time. So I thought today was a perfect example as to why Vanessa sucks as a character these days. And then Leslie was on her tour like a gnat, like I said, to bother people. She ended up bothering Vernon and Anita again. Leslie gave her own version of condolences for Anita's cancer, but in typical Leslie fashion, just wanted something from Anita. Ashley was with Naomi today. Ashley was trying to get Naomi to mind her. Well, no. Ashley was trying to get Naomi to tell her family about her cancer gene, hoping that Anita's interview would get Naomi to do that. But Naomi wanted Ashley to mind her business. Naomi was getting bitchy with Ashley today, which is typical Naomi getting bitchy with someone, but it's usually not Ashley. Ashley wanted to know why Naomi was so upset with her and wants to know what's really going on. And Naomi did say that Jacob moved out because of the undercover work. Naomi was saying before he left, they made love like it was the last time and wonders if it was the last time, which has me wondering if it will be the last time. But I would still be surprised if they kill Jacob off. And then Naomi's excuse for not talking about the cancer gene is that she doesn't want to add more stress and pain to her family's lives. But I wish Naomi had a better storyline than just keeping her cancer gene a secret, because it's not exactly riveting television. To end the episode, Laura ended up going to Orphe Jean's, talking to Eva. They talked about the book Eva was reading. Laura brought up how it's been a year since her accident. And Laura also said how she's happy for Eva, that since then she has developed a relationship with her father, Ted. Eva did warn Laura that Leslie would be returning soon, and Laura is saying that she's not going to cower to Leslie anymore, which I hope is true. I do hope we get some scenes of Laura sticking up for herself with Leslie, because at the end of 2025, Laura was cowering too much for my liking. Leslie ended up coming back to Orphe Jean's, wanted Eva to record her at Orphe Jean's talking about her free clinic on live stream. Kat walked in and saw this. Kat thought it was a live stream and interrupted, saying, "This woman is a homicidal maniac." But Eva wasn't actually recording a live stream. She was just recording a video. So she saved her mother from being humiliated in a live stream. So we have Kat once again vowing that she will take Leslie and Eva down for what they did to Laura last year. Maybe we'll finally move that along and something will happen with that story. If not, I don't know what today's scenes were for and why they keep Laura lingering around. But I do think this show needs to shit or get off the pot, as my grandma would say. Because, yeah, that's how I feel about a lot of the stories right now. Because February Sweeps is unfortunately ending on a low note. It's being a little too similar to November Sweeps this week, which is not a good thing. But they never just kicked it into high gear with February Sweeps this year in general. It wasn't bad. I had stuff that I like, but it wasn't like a climax of stories. At some point, this show has to learn how to end their stories, and in the process, I hope this show learns to cut the dead weight, such as Tomas, Ashley, and hell, Vanessa at this point, because she's my least favorite character. So yeah, today's episode, not so hot in my opinion. Hoping for a much better Friday tomorrow.